Good evening, my friends. Today I'm going back to Judges. And actually, I might have to spend some time talking about this subject here, which I think I have in the past. But Judges 9, starting in verse 22, 23, and 24, the story, just so you know the context, is about Abimelech. Abimelech was one of the sons of Gideon, who was born to, I think, either a prostitute or a foreign woman. I can't remember. And then, he ends up killing all of Gideon's other sons, like 70 of his other sons, in one place. And then he reigns, and then God brings forth judgment upon him. But I just want to talk about this. So when Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, that the cruelty done to the threescore and 10 sons, the 70 sons of Jerubbaal, might come, and their blood be laid upon Abimelech their brother, which slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, which aided him in killing of his brethren. So my main thing that I want to point out here is that God sent an evil spirit. Okay, this is probably a difficult thing to grasp for some people, but to understand that when God executes judgment, He is in control of evil and good. Okay, um, it's important to understand the sovereignty of God. Um, to me, it's like this, and just bear with me for a second. But if God is not in control of evil and good, we're in trouble. Okay? Because if here's how we have to think about it. If 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 Jesus was just like some solution that God came up with for a problem within creation that just arose out of nowhere, and God was like, "Oh man, like how am I gonna fix this? Oh, okay. Hey, oh Jesus, hey, oh, will you help me fix this problem? You know what I mean? Um, you know what I'm saying? Like no, like we need to understand that everything is by design. Okay, and God, and there's also, God is working all things out together for good. Like God knew what was going to happen with free will. Okay, and free will might just be the consequence of evil, and God's foreknowledge and wisdom and knowing how that would all play out, um, bringing things into the design based on that. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm just saying. So here's why I say that, because if God's not in control of evil, how can we have assurance that in the future there won't be some other problem that arises? Okay? You know what I mean? Like, how can we have any assurance that, okay, God resolved this rebellion with Satan, and the angels, or however that came about with Jesus and us, but in the future, how can we have confidence that there won't be some other rebellion or some other evil that happens? You know what I mean? So we need to be able to understand that God is sovereign and in control of all, and He speaks and controls evil and good, and nothing's happening outside of His will, and that even the evil spirits are subject to Him. And we see that manifest, okay, when Jesus came, because the spirits, whenever He rebuked them and cast them out, what did they do? They had to obey Him, okay? So that's the same thing that He was doing in heaven, the same thing His Father's doing, right? The spirits had to obey them and submit to them and do things even contrary to their own will at the commandment of God. So it's important to understand this. And we see it here. God sent an evil spirit. There's another place, where God sent an evil spirit, a lying spirit, And it doesn't even say it's an evil spirit, but it says I sent a lying spirit. I will be a lying spirit in the mouth and deceive Ahab. But God sent him to bring judgment. Um, the other example that we see where God's in control of evil is in Job, right? Because Satan appears before the throne of God. God asks him, or God asks him, like, where have you been? You know, he tells him where he's been, and then God says to him, have you considered my servant Job? And Satan's like, I can't touch him, right? Because you've set a hedge and a guard around him, but let me touch him and then he'll curse you. So then God gave Satan authority to do what he needed to do in Job's life to test him. All right. So God is in control of evil and good. It's hard to understand, but but it's truth. Okay? And and I don't know how it all works. But I know that God is trustworthy in what he allows and what he does, and that it can really give us full assurance when we understand that he's in control, because we can let go and be like, you know what? Whatever's happening to me, God has had to allow this and may have even ordained it for me. You know what I mean? Like, either way, I can trust that this is working out to all. That's why it says all things are working together for the good of those who love God, who are the called according to purpose, because God is interested in using evil to refine us. And sometimes, in the case of Abimelech, he uses evil to bring judgment. Judgment. There is judgment, okay? But that is not what God has appointed for us and our portion. Jesus has suffered all the judgment for us, and we get to walk in mercy. But that doesn't mean we will be free from experiencing evil. Jesus plainly says that the world hated me, it will hate you, and you will suffer tribulation. But I just want to point that out and have confidence and assurance in God's complete control of everything. Amen.